Norm Nevills and Don Harris built this boat in 1938. It was used on the 1938 Clover Expedition, a botanical expedition through the Grand Canyon, and started at Green River, Utah, and went all the way into Lake Mead. The boat is named for William Eugene Nevills, the father of Norm Nevills. These boats are called Catract boats or sadirons because if you look at them from the top, they look like an old-fashioned iron. This boat, the WEN, traveled through Grand Canyon between 1938 and the last time it ran through Grand Canyon in 1949. This boat was donated to Grand Canyon National Park in 1949 by Norm Nevills himself, just before he passed away in a plane crash. So the really important design feature about the WEN, Norm Nevills' flagship boat, is its width. All of a sudden, I can't reach across this boat like I could with the Powell boat and the Julia Stone 1909 boat. I could almost reach across the 1923 USGS boats. But now, we have really added we have really added to this width. And width equals stability. Remember, we talked about this with the earlier boats. One foot in front of the other, it's a little tippy. But now, I'm not just foot to foot. Now I'm really stable. I'm really stable. And that is going to be reflected in almost all of the whitewater craft today, unless we're talking about smaller little playboats or little kayaks, things like that. The 16-foot rafts, the 18-foot rafts, the width really is important for stability in whitewater. The WEN has a few design features, just like the earlier boats before it. It had a front hatch, and it had a back hatch. These are refrigerator latches here. And if you were sitting here and the boat hit a rock, you would lose a chunk of your leg or whatever was butted up against that. What looks like it should be the front, this little pointy bit here, is actually the back. And this boat was driven that way with this really wide front end. Another design feature of this boat, which wasn't appreciated by its boatmen, was the footwell. Imagine this full of water, and you had to bail it. That was a lot of work. And later boats would work to minimize this space in here to put in more storage and less water. Another feature of the WEN was this cutout here, where you could fit an oar shaft, and the oar blade would run down through the side of the footwell here and tuck in that little notch right there. So the blade of the oar would be here, and the shaft would come back, and the handle would be out here. And it would be easy access for an oar if you needed to change an oar because you lost one. Pretty simple. There's a term in river running called the fisheye. That name came about in 1948 when a gentleman named Frank Maslin was on the 48 Grand Canyon River trip. One of the boatmen's name was Frank Wright. And in order to differentiate the two Franks, one of them needed a nickname. Otis Marston's son Garth was rowing one of the boats, and Frank Maslin laid down here over this deck and had his head sticking out the front. And as this was the front of the boat, when the waves came in, he would just be buried in waves. And so Garth nicknamed him Fish Eyes. And so the fish eye, you're fish eyeing if you're laying on the front of the boat. And that's how that term came to be.